Hey, hello again. It's Katie from the Two Sparks of Madness. And this time I wanted to show you what we got up to in the Karoo on our trip through South Africa. We left the Cederberg oasis and headed over the Katbakkies Pass, which is a nice little road, some gravel and some asphalt. The Karoo is an area in South Africa that is a semi-desert. It's divided up into different areas. So there's the Greater Karoo, which extends quite a large area north of the Swartberg Pass, and the Little Karoo, which is on the south of the Swartberg Mountains. The Tankwa Karoo is a national park that's in an area that's particularly dry. It's like a flat desert area. And as we found out, it's a little bit of a magnet for some weird and wonderful people. People who like an alternative lifestyle, who don't like rules and regulations and just your office 9 to 5, feel right at home here in the Tankwa Karoo. There's a super famous pit stop along the way called the Tankwa Pad Stall. So we stopped off there for a drink. And if you arrive in a couple months' time, you might be lucky enough to see the new alien spaceship that they're building here. The shopkeep told me all about the initiative where they are now building an alien spaceship. Why not? So usually the R355 that we're riding here is really super bumpy, corrugated road. But we were very lucky because it had just recently been scraped, so we could just fly across towards the Tankwa. The place we stayed at was the Tankwa Tented Camp, which is kind of in the middle of nowhere. It just has a few wooden chalets. It has running water, cold running water. And of course, they have a bar there, only place with Wi-Fi. So we settled down there for a bit and chatted to some of the locals, some bikers that gave us some top tips on where to ride next. It's another really interesting place, and you can see some of the art that they have around here. In April, they actually have the Africa Burn Festival here, which is a kind of offshoot of the Burning Man Festival. My sat-nav actually took us around Tankwa Town. Tankwa Town only exists once a year when the festival is on, but on my sat-nav it looked exactly like any normal place, and it was so weird to go around the streets as if they were real streets. There was nothing there. So super odd. But the Karoo on the whole is a really special place, and I'm really happy that we didn't miss out on it. So on Friday we headed across the Karoo Basin, really flat, long roads across nothing. The Auburn Pass crosses the Roggeveld Mountains, and it starts off pretty easy. But when we were riding it, it was pretty washed out in places. There were deep ruts and loose gravel and big stones everywhere. So not the easiest ride. And unfortunately, somewhere pretty much at the beginning, I don't know, I was going far too slowly and I missed the gear or knocked the bike into neutral, and I just kind of fell over. So Colin, who had gone up all the way to the top already, had to walk down. It wasn't an easy place to turn around, and he didn't know how far down I was, so he decided to walk down just in case. He had to ride my bike up with me on the back in case I was hurt. But as it happens, I quite happily rode the rest of the way up and left poor Colin behind, so he had to walk all the way back up. And right here, I've got to give a big shout out to two fine gentlemen that you can see here in the picture. We actually came across these two guys at the Katbakkies Pass, at the beginning of the Katbakkies Pass, where they asked us for directions, which we were able to give. Nothing makes you feel more comfortable in a place than being able to give directions to someone. And at first, when I saw them in their Land Cruiser with the animal skull on the front with those big two horns, I thought, oh my gosh, here we go. But I have to say, they are the salt of the earth. They waited at the top of the Swartberg Pass and they were looking over, making sure that we were all right. They were absolutely ready to turn around and come and help us. And yeah, we named them our honorary support vehicle. So thank you very much to these fine young gentlemen who helped us out at the Swartberg Pass. So the rest of the way to Sutherland was pretty uneventful. In Sutherland, we managed to get some accommodation here at the V8 guest house, where Colin fell in love with a Land Rover. The gentleman that runs this place has a garage with lots of cool vehicles. They do them up there and they restore older vehicles. It's a real boys' toys dream. And as you can see from our room and the bed that we slept in, it's a pretty unique place. Oh, and Sutherland is the stargazing capital of South Africa as well. So we did peer up into the sky to see what we could see. And indeed, the stars were just amazing. Obviously, the photos that we took with the phones don't really do them justice. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough time to book into a planetarium or an observatory, of which they have tons here. We had to ride on the next day. On Saturday, we just ran into Prince Albert, which is a small town at the edge of the Karoo and the bottom of the Swartberg. And on the way to Prince Albert, Colin actually ran out of fuel, which is not really possible because it was well within our range. But it must have just been a stoppage between the spare tank and the main tank. So Colin had to stop off and siphon some fuel from the spare tank and put it in the main, which is not very nice job to do. While we were in the area, we visited the Kango Caves, which is a series of large underground chambers with great big stalactites and stalagmites and pillars and flowstone formations that really let you play with your imagination. You can see what you can see. So all in all, we rode the Swartberg Pass a couple of times. I still haven't really quite worked out why the Swartberg is called Black Mountain, Swart, Black, Schwarzberg, because it's beautiful, orangey colours and reds and all mixed. Really lovely views from the top. Very windy right at the very top though, so we really had to hang on to the handlebars when we were coming down the other direction to just make sure that we weren't blown over. So I thought I'd leave you this time with some impressions of the Swartberg Mountain. I hope you enjoyed this video and see you next time.